We are live.
Thank you.
All right.
It is 9 o'clock, so I am going to call this meeting to order. This is the December meeting of the Dunn County Traffic Safety and Emergency Medical Services Committee. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I believe we have a quorum. I don't know quite what a quorum is for this meeting, but we'll assume that we have one and step right into the agenda. Patty, you're calling the roll, as I understand, and we'll record that. So we'll move down to the approval of the minutes from the September 17th meeting. That was in your packet of materials, and I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Anyone?
So moved.
I see Rick moves, and I think Dustin seconded, right?
That was Bill, but that's okay.
Well, Bill did, okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the September 17th meeting. Any discussion? And I think I can see everybody on my screen, so if you want to use your hand raise or just raise your hand, that'd be fine. All those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from September signify by raising your hand, saying aye, doing the chicken dance, something like that. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, folks. I don't think we have any public comments. If somebody entered at the last minute, I don't see them. I do see a phone number down here, 0252. Can that person identify themselves?
AB State Patrol.
Okay, thank you. Then there's no members of the public. We'll get right to the reports, starting with the DOT traffic engineer, Chad. That would be you. Where did I see Chad? There he is.
Right here.
He's still in Hawaii?
Yep.
Good. Good for you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'll just start out by going through what we have for next year's construction. We got quite a few projects in the county. Nothing on the interstate for once, but I'm sure that'll change soon. Our first project we got up on Highway 64, culvert just east of the Highway 25 north intersection. That's getting replaced. It'll be staged with signals, kind of half at a time type of situation. Highway 12, the Wilson Creek Bridge just west of Knapp, that's getting replaced. That'll also be staged with signals. We'll also have to do a reroute to the I-94 alternate route. So we'll push that down to 29 while that project's going on. Highway 25 from the Red Cedar River up to 490th Street or 28th Avenue, depending on which side of the intersection you're at there. That's getting resurfaced. Highway 12 from, or also known as Stout Road, from 6th Street to 21st Street. The road diet's going to happen this year. We're going to mill and overlay and change that 4-lane section to a 3-lane with a center 2-way left turn lane, and also make some pedestrian improvements out there for crossing Highway 12. Highway 25, the South Fork Lower Pine Creek culvert up by Ridgeland, that's going to get replaced, staged again half at a time with signals. And then we got 4 projects through our local program, all on county highways. County Highway Q, Wilson Creek Bridge replacement, just north of Knapp. That one will be closed with a detour route. County K, the Flayton Creek Bridge in Connorsville, just north of 1260th Avenue, that'll be replaced as well. And then County H from double H to M, that's a 6-inch pulverized and 4-inch HMA pavement. That project will be detoured. And then County double B from 12 to 25, that's through our high-risk rural roadway project, upgrading signing, shoulders, pavement markings, that type of thing. And then right now, with all the federal money and stuff that may be coming in, we're looking at possibly advancing the Highway 12 Wilson Creek tributary culvert just north of the interstate on Highway 25 there, north of Fleet Farm, kind of in that dip. If that goes, we'll have to detour Highway 12 to do that work. So we'll send traffic down to the interstate, but I would probably know more on that at our March meeting. So that's kind of the projects that we got going on next year as of now. And then the only other thing I got traffic wise is we're still looking into the Highway 29 and County H intersection through our Highway Safety Improvement Program. We got the intersection control evaluations done, so we've got a bunch of alternatives. We're sending it to central office to make sure they approve it, and then we'll come up with a selection on what we're going to do there probably later this winter, and I may know more by our March meeting as well on that. So that's all I have, kind of a lot, but anybody has any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Chad. Anybody have questions?
Good.
Sounds like a busy schedule.
I'm sorry. We have the iPhone person that joined. I'm trying to get the name on that.
Is that the same number I asked about before?
It doesn't show a number, just says iPhone.
Right.
I believe that's me, AB. I'm trying to fix that and get that out of here.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd
But
be
sorry.
Sergeant Bell. Anything else for Chad? Thank you, Chad. Rick, you're up next. Law enforcement.
Well, good morning. I did send out the project. I'm gonna see if it'll let me share my screen momentarily here. There we go.
Yeah, we got it.
I'm somewhat technologically not so advanced here, but not a lot to show, but statewide fatalities are about even with the same way they were last year at this time. And as you can see, they're well over what we saw in 19, and they're really encroaching on what we saw as a total for 2020. I mean, we still have the holidays coming up yet, which tend to, depending on weather, we can have a number of them added. Plus, we need to keep in mind that not all fatalities have been reported yet. A lot of agencies don't necessarily report them within the couple of days that we want them to. So we need to do a lot better job statewide on that. Next one shows the numbers in the county. Overall crashes are up a little bit. Fatalities are down by 1. Otherwise, the numbers are roughly the same, coming up just a little bit. Alcohol-related crashes this year are up quite a bit. And then speed-related, we had 80 last year at this time. We have 149 already this year. Some of that, I think, is due to better documentation by law enforcement. I think explaining what that field is for and a lot of the public information about the speed issue, I think some of that is accounting for some of those numbers going up. And then as you can see, our teen drivers are a big number in the crashes. 108 out of 589 involved some type of teen driver, whether they were at fault or not. It just shows that they're a teen driver. Fatalities, there were none, unless there's one missing from community maps, but I didn't see any at all since our last meeting. And then I'll just quickly go over because I did send it out, but the predictive analytics, as usual, the number 1 spots in the city of Menominee, and I think a lot of that has always been that way for the last couple of years. And as you can see, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all in Menominee. Something that, when you look at the factors, teen driver is high in a couple of those areas, but the numbers aren't. If you look at a lot of other counties, the numbers aren't extremely high. The number 1 spot that we're talking about had a total of 12 crashes over the past 3 years. And with some of the construction that was going on, I think some traffic may have diverted through the city over the past couple of years. And then I did take a look at the predictive analytics with taking out the city of Menominee to see where we're at. The first one that comes up is the area of 12 and 94. And again, over 3 years, I don't know that 7 crashes is a huge number, but it is the top area outside of the city. And then the same thing here, Highway 12 is number 2, Highway 25 and Double B is number 3. which I think looking back is pretty much where we were at the last couple of times we did this. And legislative updates, right prior to the meeting, they were talking about the ATV speed limit. That has not gone anywhere yet. My understanding from talking to one of the legislative people is that there's nothing in the law that allows a municipality to lower the speed limit for specific vehicles. In other words, if the county road is 55 miles an hour for a car, then it would also be 55 for an ATV. The proposed statute would allow the municipality to set different speed limits, but that really hasn't gone anywhere recently. A couple of updates. Signed into law December 3rd is the unregistered vehicle change. Basically means the state of emergency declaration has nothing to do with registrations anymore. It used to be during any state declared emergency, you could not stop vehicles for registration violations. Now it basically eliminated that, except operation due to an imminent public disaster or imminent death or great bodily harm. Basically, if you're running from flood or something, then you can drive your vehicle unregistered. And I don't really think law enforcement is going to be looking for unregistered vehicles when things like that happen. But and one of the issues was you'd get the fire danger emergency that was up, I think it was in the northwest part of the state. Well, that covers the entire state for 60 days that you can't stop cars for registration, which really, that down in Milwaukee, really hampered their efforts to work on reckless driving, because working on the small stuff takes care of some of the big stuff. So if you're stopping vehicles that aren't registered or don't have plates, that can start to work on the reckless driving problem. Another one that passed is the snowmobile ATV UTV operation near a highway. There used to be a 40-foot requirement. Now they can be as close as 10 feet. The big difference is if they are traveling on the roadway or within the 10 feet, they have to be traveling in the same direction as traffic. And they also have to use their low beams and alternate the low and high, just like you would in a car. And it also changed the decibel reading from 88 to 82. I'm not sure what that all has to do, but there is a standard for 82 with hearing protection or something. And that's what I was told the reason that was changed. And then December 6th, the emergency response area was signed into law. Currently, if you have a highway work zone that's laid out, that's kind of a protected area, meaning the fines are higher, et cetera. Well, now when you set up any type of emergency work zone or response area, so if you're at a crash and you set up a traffic incident management area, that's a protected area of 500 feet either side of that zone and through the entire zone. And it carries a possible fine of $10,000 or 9 months in jail if it results in any type of injury. It also means that in that entire area, you're not allowed to use your cell phone. So the rules will be the same as they are in a work zone. And that actually applies all the way down to a simple tow truck on the side of the road hooking up a vehicle, that would be an emergency response area. I think that's a step forward. And then there's also a requirement that DOT do an awareness campaign, which also certainly can't help because we've seen plenty of issues in those zones. Things that have been passed on one or both chambers but not signed in, the ATV speed limit that we talked about, that had a public hearing on October 6th. Like I said, it passed the Senate, it has not passed the Assembly. When I was at a meeting in Kenosha, the legislator there said she didn't think it would pass. But some of that might be coming out of the governor's office as to whether or not they want some changes to it or amendments to it. The green vehicle lamps for highway vehicles had a public hearing on November 17th. Nothing that we've seen since then. And then a couple that have been introduced. One is the marijuana possession minimum fine of $100, and then allowing firearms possession on school grounds. If you have a concealed carry permit, it would be limited to you having it in your vehicle. I've been told the reasoning is if I'm a concealed carry person and I carry all the time, but I need to drive to the school to pick up my child, I would then be in violation. It doesn't allow them to get out of the car. It would simply allow them to have it in their vehicle. And then there's a proposal to drop the age for concealed carry from 21 down to 18. And then the last one is the driver skills test. Basically takes the rule change that DMV, where they're waiving the road test or allowing parents to waive it, and making it actually a statute rather than a rule change through DMV. And then lastly, drive sober starts today, goes through January 1st. Again, hoping that when law enforcement puts out some kind of a PSA, if places like the hospital and even the highway department, the schools would at least share or like that to just expand the message. It would be nice to get through the holidays without any alcohol or drug related fatalities. So that's all I have. If there's any questions or you need anything else, certainly give me a phone call or an email. So are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Rick. I'm not seeing any questions. The pending legislation and some of the stuff that's just passed obviously are going to make some differences.
Definitely.
But I think a lot of times we have to wait and see how things shake out in those terms. Anybody else? Questions or comments for Rick? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Anybody from the railroad here today? Don't see any railroad people. We'll go down to D. Scott, Highway Safety Coordinator, report.
All right. Since the last meeting, the sheriff's office has handled 60 crashes, 17 multi-vehicle crashes, 43 single vehicle crashes, 17 crashes with injuries, with a total of 23 persons injured. We did have a fatality on Wednesday, US 12 and County Road K. We had a 97 Lincoln Continental southbound on K approaching 12 with 3 occupants in the vehicle. That vehicle failed to stop at a stop sign. We had a witness on scene traveling in the area that observed the crash. Struck a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 2 occupants that was westbound on 12. The driver of the Lincoln was dead on scene. Occupants of the 2 other occupants of the Continental had critical injuries and were transported. Occupants of the Jeep had minor injuries. At this time, people might just assume that fog was a factor in that. Right now, visibility was not a factor. We had quite good visibility as we proceeded out there, and the witness also indicated at the time of the crash, visibility was good. Fog certainly developed again afterwards, but that was not the factor in this crash. It was failure to see that stop sign, stop for it. State Patrol's assisting with recon. So we are participating in the Drive Sober campaign, and we'll get some PR out on that. As far as that fatality crash, we just did not see any roadway concerns, that kind of thing. But that's all I have.
Thank you, Scott. Questions?
Scott, was that car like going too fast, or was speed an issue, do you know, or?
Yeah, that'll be part of the recon yet. I won't want to even speculate on that one.
Okay.
Scott, is there some kind of a timeline when we might expect some results from the investigation?
Yeah, I would think in the next couple of weeks, we should have something back with the recon information.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Scott. Dustin, Highway Department, what do you have for us this morning?
Well, good morning, everybody. I guess I just want to introduce myself. Some of you may know me, but some of you may not. Obviously, my name is Dustin. I work with the Highway Department. I'm the engineer superintendent / interim highway commissioner at this time. So like I said, I just want to introduce myself. Just wanted to go over a few of the projects that we're looking at doing this next year, local projects. I don't know if you guys can hear me, if my connection's really bad or.
No, you're good.
Okay, because you guys keep freezing up. So
That's just the way we are.
okay, we'll leave it at that then. But we have a three or four local projects that we're looking at doing this next year. So we do have County Road V project between Ridgeland and Sand Creek, between from 770th to 850th Street. It's a 3-mile stretch of road. We will be shutting the road down during construction with a detour posted. I'm sure everybody is gonna be happy with this, but we are gonna start County Road Z from Downing to O'Galley. We're gonna be going from County Road C to C. That is a much needed road that needs to get repaired. So that will be taking place next year. We also have County Road Q from 170 to County Road N, just north of Downing, that we are looking at finishing that project out that we started 2 years ago, actually. So we're looking at finishing that up. We are currently in the preliminary design of County Road Q and W intersection, just south of Downing. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that or not, but that is kind of like a problematic T intersection configuration with a one-way stop on that. So we are looking at getting that redesigned to just be a better design for traffic safety in general. And then Chad did mention a lot of our other local projects that are taking place with DOT funding. Obviously the County Road Q and K bridges, and then also the County Road H project just from double H to M. And I guess I just wanted to just touch base with our County Road B projects. We do have 2 projects from Highway 1229 to the interstate, as well as from the interstate to Packer Drive, just north of the railroad tracks. That's at approximately a 60% plan for both of those projects currently. There's a lot of coordination going on between the railroad, traffic signals. There is proposed traffic signals at the intersection of Love, by Love's intersection there. That is currently scheduled for both of those projects in 2023. Like I said, there's a lot of coordination with DOT and the railroad that's taking place. We would love to push it up as quickly as we can, but unfortunately it's not going to happen till about 2023 right now. So any questions?
Dustin, on that County Z project, when's it anticipated then to finish from Z and C in the town of O'Galley on down to County D?
So currently the entire stretch of County Road Z from Downing all the way to O'Galley will be a 3-year project. Approximately about 3 miles each year. That's basically what we have budgeted currently.
Okay.
So little by little, we'll be making it.
Anything else for Dustin, Highway Department? Well, thank you, Dustin, and welcome to the group.
Thank you.
You're a marked man now. Kelly, anything to add from the committee standpoint?
Nothing on the highway committee side. Dustin covered everything there. I will note on putting on my Menominee City Council hat very, very briefly that Menominee is in the process of opening up some ATV routes around the edges of town. So we'll have some more ATV traffic interacting with City of Menominee traffic in the years to come, and that will be interesting. That's all I got.
Yes, it will. Thank you, Kelly. Any questions for Kelly regarding that? That ATV routes is under consideration, so there's a lot of unanswered questions about that yet. Menominee Police Department, is that next? Yeah. Anybody here from the Menominee Police? Thought we had somebody. No? Well, if they join us later, they can certainly join in. State Patrol, Sergeant Bell? You're here with us? Sure, there you are. Oh, Sergeant Bell, you still with us? There he
Can
is.
everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Since the last meeting, State Patrol directly handled 16 crashes. The majority of them were on 94, with the exception of 2 on Highway 12, one in Elk Mound and one just west of the 1229 interchange. I believe it was just one major injury. We are participating Drive Sober, starting, I believe, between the 21st and the 1st, as we have 3 different individuals working hours for that. And we also have a straight time OWI detail over that New Year's Eve weekend. Through the BOTS funding, we only had 28 hours worth of OWI grant money. So I usually try to split half of it between this weekend and half over the Ridgeland Fair weekend. Other than that, Predictive Analytics, there's 2 areas that usually when we have more than 2 troopers assigned, or more than 2 assigned, we try to have at least one work a designated analysis area in the county. I think Rick kind of went over those, and there was that one on Highway 12 and also 94 west of exit 41, and the other one over by exit 52. So we try to at least get one trooper to kind of work that general area for at least 5 to 6 hours during their shift, if they're assigned a Predictive Analytics shift. That's all I have.
Unmute myself here. Thank you, Sergeant Bell. Any questions for the State Patrol? Okay, seeing none, moving right along. Anybody here from the DNR today? Don't see anybody. Again, if you folks join us late, we'd be happy to hear from you. Of course, if they're not here now, my announcement just now was not very helpful, was it? School administrators, Bill, what have you got for us today?
Yeah, good morning. For anybody new, Bill Yingst, Superintendent Colfax Schools. I guess the latest rage is what's been in the news the last 24 hours with this TikTok challenge. TikTok is some kind of social media site, which I do not go on and have not been on. But if you've noticed, local news and national news had this article on. This is a glowing example of how quickly kind of a rumor thought type thing spreads, and quite frankly gives I think kids ideas on what to do to cause problems, and it does send a lot of ripples through the schools, and we're currently dealing with that as we speak. I do want to put a shout out and a big thank you to our local law enforcement. I contacted Sheriff Kevin Bigg as soon as I was made aware of this yesterday, and just to make sure he was aware this was going on, because there was information coming out all different outlets. And by the time we found out, I got the notification at 3:06 yesterday, and I already had buses in my bus loop. And we run into a situation: how do you notify parents efficiently what's going on and that type of thing? What we decided to do as superintendents, we sit in the middle of this, and our choices are: do you publicize this and put it out and draw attention to it, or do you not? And initially, and I talked with my neighboring superintendents in Elk Mound and Boyceville, and our initial thought was, well, it's one of those things that don't give people more ideas. Well, within about 5 minutes of that, so we got one notification from a parent to say, what's going on? We heard from another school, from another principal somewhere else, that this thread and kids are supposed to bring bombs and guns to school, and it just unraveled from there. And one of the other superintendents had a call from a board member. So it made our decision much clearer then as to put out information. And luckily, through our state association, through the Wisconsin Association of School District Administrators, there's a public relations person there, and the letter that went out to the schools was a templated letter. where we put in our own school identifying information and making people aware. We actually went to Facebook and through our district web pages, put this information out. Just, there is a TikTok trend out here, and it did not originate in our schools. It's just something that we try to use a lot of situational awareness when we go to these type of situations and address them the best that we can without causing any more chaos and angst. And I want to again say thank you to Dunn County Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Bigg and Captain McRoberts. I mean, we had a vehicle on site, a Dunn County vehicle, and our local law enforcement. I'd contacted them as well. Sometimes I'm not sure what their duty schedules are. And, we had a basketball game last night. So everything transpired, it's always at the most inopportune time typically. So I'm not aware of any credible threats in our area. I do know that you probably saw the Chippewa Falls and Chippewa Falls McDonald schools were closed today due to safety threat. And I know that I heard the Lux school districts was notified of that this morning, that they're closed as well. So it does send a lot of ripples when you think about the impact to families and daycare and even our school staff. There's a lot of people that are scared to come to work, and they felt a lot better having the law enforcement presence out front in our parking lot this morning. When you pull up and you see a truck that's got huge letters sheriff on the side, they know and they're here. And our local law enforcement was around the building as well, and they've been in the building showing a presence. So that law enforcement presence is greatly appreciated and needed. I'm kind of a no BS kind of person, and we have a plan. We try to deal with things the best that we can and deal with it directly. And there's never a perfect plan because we never know what the incident or act might be. But I just want to express my appreciation to Dunn County Sheriff's Department again, and our local law enforcement, just in their support of our schools. They've been outstanding supporters for years. I've been working with them for a long time now, and full trust and faith there. And this is just the world we're living in, unfortunately. And we've got after today, there's 3 days next week till most schools go on the holiday break, and hopefully we can get through those 3 days without incident and make this work. So be glad to answer any questions you have for me. It's probably more than you wanted to know, but that's our current hot button that we're dealing with. And the rest of the operation stops when we're in the middle of this.
Thank you, Bill. Boy, it's a crazy world with social media sites. I heard about that TikTok thing this morning, and I imagine every other living American knows something about it or nothing about it. That's part of the problem. You get some sort of a vague indication, but no real information. And I also appreciate your comments about the Sheriff's Department. I'll be sure that he is aware of that and pass those along. Thank you. Anybody got any questions for Bill? So well, never a good time for it, but this is particularly difficult. Thank you, Bill. Anything from the board? Kelly, do you have anything from the county board? I can't think of anything offhand in terms of traffic safety.
No, I don't think anything's come up.
Okay. Community member, Ryan, I see you're with us. Anything to share?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Ryan out with Menominee Transportation. Not really too much. We've just been tracking all the cars that have been going through our stop signs this year. And so far, as of this morning, we have had 106 since the start of school year. We did just, yeah, it's crazy. And that's not all. We didn't catch them all, but that's just what we've got so far. They're going 55 miles an hour. It's hard to get a plate number. And you're obviously more concerned about the safety of the students than you are getting a plate number off a vehicle. We did just purchase a side mounted camera for one of our buses. It mounts on the outside, like right around the stop arm area. So it's mounted on the side of the bus, and it's got a forward facing camera and a backwards facing camera. So we're going to try that to see if we can catch some more of these people and hopefully curb this problem.
What's the penalty for somebody convicted of passing a stop school bus?
I'd have to, the sheriff would probably be better on that, but I want to say it's like around like $380 some, and I can't remember how many points, but we appreciate the Sheriff's Department and Police Department working with us on following up with all these violations and usually ticketing them and citing them. So I'm not exactly sure what the fine and points are for the license, but I think it's pretty hefty, but obviously not hefty enough when you're involving people's lives.
There should be a public humiliation component to that as well. Well, seriously, I'm just shocked. I was shocked when you brought this up a few months ago, and I'm shocked again now. It's just unfathomable to me that a car would pass a stopped school bus. By the way, I have seen some of the signs you were talking about. I think you said the Girl Scouts put those up. I've seen those around town, and that's got to be helpful. So I hope, yeah.
Yeah, and then the local news source out of Blair did a story on it too with the Girl Scouts, so that was really helpful. Yeah, we're just trying to do the best we can, but nowadays with everybody on their phone and just not paying attention, it's just kind of sickening, and God forbid, thank God nobody's got hurt yet.
Well, that's the potential consequences are so horrible that you would think that. Well, anyway. Thank you, Ryan. Any questions or anything else from Ryan?
Jim, it is $326.04 for illegally passing a school bus.
No public humiliation, though, huh?
No.
Yeah, it should be. Not to editorialize. All right. Thank you to folks. All of the traffic safety reports. It takes us to the medical emergency section. Is Jenny here? I don't see her from the Red Cross. Anybody want to report on Red Cross? How about first responders? Any first responders have a report that they want to share? Nope. All right. Red Cedar Medical Center, Mary.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary from Mayo Clinic Health System here in Menominee, and I really look forward to the day that I don't have to give a report about COVID, but of course that is occupying much of our time again today, and has been for quite some time. We've seen, I call it the Halloween spike, followed by the Thanksgiving spike, and then we'll probably have a Christmas spike. So I feel like this is going to continue on for quite some time yet. We today have 57 inpatients in our Northwest Wisconsin region with COVID, and 10 here in Menominee. So it has been, we've had huge staffing issues, not so much with sick staff, but just not having the availability of all the staff throughout our whole region and sharing staff among our entire region. We've had long ER wait times, very full ER. Our ER has seen higher volumes than it's ever seen. And it's not just COVID, but it's just heavy volume of our ED patients. And a huge shout out to Menominee Fire and Rescue. They have been incredibly supportive and collaborative with us. As you know, we have a Mayo ambulance and they're always busy too. And so the Menominee Fire and Rescue has been great to help us transport patients. Also, when the helicopter doesn't fly, you have to have ground transport, and they've been incredibly supportive and helpful, and we greatly appreciate their support. We're still doing a lot of COVID testing. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays here in Menominee, we're testing almost 100 people each one of those days, and our positivity rate is ranging right around that 20%. So it's still out there. We're still dealing with it. We have some contingency plans in place. If we continue to have like staff that are unvaccinated, we have very few, small impact here in Menominee, but a wider impact throughout our Northwest Wisconsin region. So get vaccinated, stay 6 feet apart, wear your masks. That's all I can say. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mary. Don't see any questions. Yeah, I echo your sentiment about it. It'd be nice to start one of these meetings without a discussion of COVID, but unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's in the cards anytime soon. Maybe Jeff can help us out on that. Jeff, you're standing in for KT today?
Yeah, so Jeff Robb, Dunn County Health Department. For those who don't know me, I started about a month ago. For those who knew Keith, I filled his position as the environmental health manager here at the health department. So just to kind of piggyback off what Mary was sharing, Dunn County kind of is seeing their highest COVID transmission of the year right now. We're considered by the Wisconsin DHS as critically high for COVID activity. If you use the CDC metrics, we're about 9 times the level of cases indicating high transmission. Our percent positivity is about 4 times the level, indicating broad community spread. So it's still rampant in our area in Wisconsin. The Delta variant continues to be the predominant strain in Wisconsin and Dunn County. We do have tests pending from the state lab hygiene on Omicron, but it hasn't been identified here. But as we all know, it's just a matter of time before we see it in Wisconsin and in Dunn County. And we're still waiting to see if Omicron infection causes the severe illness in unvaccinated population that Delta does. So as Mary shared, we continue to encourage people to get vaccinated, get their boosters, keep distance, wear a mask, get tested, treated if you have symptoms. Some numbers updates. We have 13 active cases that are currently in the hospital. Our 7-day average for new cases per day is at 38.5. Our 7-day percent positivity is at 19.2%. On a vaccine update, vaccination continues to be protective against severe outcomes with the Delta surge. We continue to see breakthrough cases as the immunity wanes, but obviously the outcomes for vaccinated is much better. Just some few data points on vaccinated versus unvaccinated. People not fully vaccinated that were diagnosed with COVID-19 are at a 3 times higher rate than people who were not vaccinated or who are fully vaccinated. People not fully vaccinated were hospitalized 11 times higher than those who were fully vaccinated. And then people not fully vaccinated died from COVID-19 at a rate 12 times higher than people who were fully vaccinated. So I know Dunn County, we're still under the rates of vaccination compared to the state of Wisconsin. State of Wisconsin, about 57% are fully vaccinated. Dunn County, we're about 46%. So just that reminder that people can get both Pfizer and J&J boosters through the health department or their medical provider. So just that reminder that vaccines, aren't perfect, but the data shows that the vaccines are protective, and especially against those severe outcomes and death. Flu season. So nice to talk about something that's not COVID, but this year is shaping up to be a pretty severe flu year. The dominant strain being AH3. We've already had some local hospitalization and significant transmission. It's actually impacting children and young adults so far this year. So it's important to get your flu shot and get your family and yourself protected this year, this flu season. And then just as Mary mentioned, our regional hospital capacity is strained. So I think that's all the updates. If there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Jeff. And again, to you, welcome to the group. Some of us have met a couple days in a row here, so I forget who's new and who's not. Any questions for Jeff regarding public health in Dunn County? Seeing none. Melissa Gillema. Oh, there's Melissa. Oh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Melissa Gillema. I'm the director of the Dunn County Emergency Management Office and also the Emergency Communications Office. I know I'm still listed as disasters, and thankfully we have no disasters to report on. I think we were very lucky the other night that we were able to kind of work through that storm, a very unique situation in the middle of December to have such a severe thunderstorm and tornado warning kind of roll through Dunn County. So luckily, I think Dunn County was spared for the most of that. We did have some power outages and things, and some concerned citizens that were without power for, close to 8 hours. And, we took some calls on that. But other than that, just the severe weather, the snowstorm that we had a week ago. But I think, with the great work from the highway shop on that, and, all of the help from Dunn Energy and Excel through the storm that we had Monday night, I think that, right now we're good. So that's about all I have to talk about. Unless anybody has any questions.
Melissa, I had a question from a neighbor about, we had a tornado warning, but no sirens.
I do need to work with the city of Menominee on that. I did get a call from a couple citizens about concerns about the siren. Of course, I am not 100% sure. We did set them off, but of course we cannot hear the sirens here in the building. So I'm going to have to work with the city of Menominee, and maybe Chief Class can let me know if maybe the fire station heard it, because they do have a siren right outside their station there. They're outdoor weather warning sirens. So they're built to notify people who are outside, enjoying activities outdoors, to either get indoors and check the weather and make your own determination on how you want to handle your response to that, or just alert you that something could be in the area. And so due to the timing of the storm, I think most people were probably inside in their homes, doors, windows closed. And so it is a little bit harder to hear those sirens. But that is what the weather sirens are designed for, is they're outdoor weather warning sirens. So the citizens that I did hear from, they said, well, I couldn't hear it. We did sound the sirens, but I have not heard from an official source, like any of our law enforcement or fire, that the sirens actually did sound. So I'm going to work on that a little bit, but I think that's why a lot of people maybe didn't hear the siren, is because they are really designed as an outdoor weather warning siren.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Good. I'm glad we didn't have to have some sort of a disaster report today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, you're up again for highway traffic safety.
Nothing to report here.
Okay. Any questions for Scott regarding a no report? Then Denny, how about fire department EMS?
A couple things to discuss. Scott talked about the fatality on Wednesday out on 12. We were very thankful that Mayo was able to fly. I didn't think they would be able to, but they did. Got things taken care of. The crash up by Boyceville that critically injured the 2 teens up there, just wanted to shout out to the Sheriff's Department and Boyceville PD for being on scene quickly and saving the lives of those 2 young people. Obviously, it wouldn't have turned out that way if they wouldn't have been right there. So well done. We had a very close call on the interstate, crash in the middle of the Knapp Hill eastbound. State Patrol was on scene. They had a bad situation with vehicles in both lanes, several feet apart, and a vehicle coming down the Knapp Hill didn't see the crash and just about took out 2 of our guys and an ambulance. So we had a close call on that one. Everything turned out all right, but it could have been much worse. Be meeting with Colfax and Boyceville EMS here at the end of the month to discuss the future of EMS in Dunn County. Obviously, getting volunteers and people to work in this field has been extremely difficult in the last 2 years, and don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. So we're going to get some discussions going as to how things may look in the future in Dunn County for ambulance service. Other than that, that's about it. Any questions?
I don't have a question, I have a comment, and I know this, the EMS and ambulance services, you know, the hiring and trying to find people is difficult in all areas, and just the appreciation to have one Colfax in this region is just invaluable. And I realize from Menominee, and you can only get so many places so quickly, and just if there's anything we can do from the school side to support this or help promote or do something, I'm certainly willing to do that. But it is an extremely valuable service around the county, and more rather than less, I think, is the order of the day. But I understand what you're up against as well. So thanks for that.
Well, we are working in conjunction with all the departments in the county, trying to get into the schools, not only for first response EMS, but getting people involved in the fire medic program at the tech school. The class that was supposed to start in January for fire medic was canceled because of they had 2 people signed up. It's typically a class that has a 2-year wait to get into it, and they canceled it. And that class, the graduates of that class are hired by 14 career departments in northern Wisconsin, from Green Bay to Ashland, Superior, Rapids, Wausau. There's no pool to draw from. And that has all of us concerned, considering the retirements that are going to happen and people leaving the job for other jobs just because of the way the market is right now. But we're trying to get into the high schools with flyers, and as low as freshmen, getting them interested in helping their community out, whether it's as a first responder or taking the EMT basic class or whatever, trying to get that sense of community back into some folks. And it's tough to do because everybody's busy. But we have grave concerns about being able to provide what everybody has come to rely on for pre-hospital care. And I think everybody needs to be very aware that they expect an ambulance to show up. That may not be the case. So the days of throwing your loved one in a car and driving quickly to the hospital, I don't want to sound as an alarmist, but I'm afraid it's coming. So that's why we're hoping that we can get in and get some young people interested and community members back in these classes.
Denny, is there any consideration for, I think you have a retirement age requirement of maybe 55 or something like that. Is there any consideration to changing that or bringing back some retirees or anything like that? Is that an option?
Just got the side letter from our attorney the other day that has been removed. That was part of the retention and trying to attract people into Menominee. We put in a lateral transfer, trying to bring people from other departments. Obviously, that doesn't help them, but it does help us. Dropped our retirement age and a couple other things. We're looking at possibly lowering the entry requirements just to get in for an interview. A lot of places have gone to hiring people and then sending them to school. Obviously, it is a huge cost for the paramedic program. You're looking at $15,000. But we're going to have to start doing something because everybody is hurting for employees. Doesn't matter if it's welding, HVAC, wherever, and trying to draw from that very small pool of workers is tough to do right now.
Anything else for Denny? Thank you, Denny. Not a message we wanted to hear, but one that was important to hear. So thanks for sharing that. And frankly, I would imagine everybody on the screen can share the same concerns. It's getting harder and harder to hire people in the necessary positions. So if anybody's got ideas about how to address it, boy, that's need to follow up on all those possibilities. Thank you. I don't see Katie Wantock from Extension. Is there anybody that has any last minute additions to their reports they'd like to share? Seeing none, there's nothing in item number 7. on the agenda. Next meeting date is March 18th, 2022. A year I never thought I'd live to see.
Jim, if
Yeah.
I might.
Go ahead.
On the siren sounding, just for Melissa's information, my office is about 3 blocks away from one of the sirens and facing it. My wife was sitting in there when the warning went off, and we did not hear the sirens. And normally they're incredibly loud in my office. So I'm not sure if that's a data point that's useful or not, but I thought it would be worth adding.
Right. And
Thank you.
I normally will hear the sirens too, although normally I've got windows open. Yeah, we were 5 blocks from the rec park siren. I didn't hear anything either. But a neighbor brought it to my attention. It hadn't occurred to me. But Melissa, I'm sure you're on top of that. So we'll leave it to you to iron those things out.
Yep. I will work closely with the city and come up with a system. Thank you guys for the feedback.
Great. All right, anything else? If not, want to wish everybody a happy holiday season. Stay safe, stay healthy. Enjoy the blessings of the season, your families, all those things. And we'll see you in a couple of months. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, everybody, for the incredibly hard work.
Meeting is adjourned.